I'm Tom Manteuffel, and the class is King Lear. On a dead cold winter night, the night of December 28th, 1598, a crew of about a dozen men broke into a long vacant theater in the northwest London, a suburb of Shoreditch, and began to dismantle it piece by piece. 6 months later, it was reassembled into a brand new theater grandly called the Globe in the somewhat seedy area west of the foot of the London Bridge. It could accommodate an amazing 3,000 spectators, competing with the nearby Rose Theater and the bear baiting arenas and the brothels and the pubs that were already there. The resident playwright, William Shakespeare, was 35 and in mid-career. Just 2 years later, in 1601, disaster struck when the Globe and its company was involved, if indirectly, in the Essex plot to overthrow the aging Queen Elizabeth. Barely escaping prison, the new theater company's fortunes were once more devastated 2 years later when all the theaters in London were shut down by the plague in 1603. At that same time, the troupe, which had been the Lord Chamberlain's men, had lost its patron, who died that year. Things looked very bleak. And it was just at that very precarious moment for the Globe that all of London was welcoming a new king, replacing Elizabeth, James I. Somehow, and it's not at all clear just how, the Globe's endangered theater company emerged that year with a new patron, none other than the new King James himself. And it was to honor their powerful new patron that Shakespeare fashioned a new play in 1605, full of parallels to contemporary London, although based on a legendary pre-Christian king. It was King Lear, considered by many, including me, to be Shakespeare's greatest work. What most interests me about this play is exactly how Shakespeare molded, changed, rewrote, and adapted the 5 or 6 sources that he used for the Lear story. As we did in my class last semester at Encore Learning on King Henry IV, Part 1, we're going to try and capture what was on Shakespeare's mind in 1605 that led to the writing of King Lear, that caused him to write it and shape it precisely the way he did. We'll also look at a few selected scenes in performance to view how modern directors and actors have interpreted this work. So, if that sounds of interest to you, as it is to me, please join us for sessions starting in March, the background to and the writing of the magnificent play, King Lear.